Hummingbirds are such fascinating birds. I love watching them flutter around, and they are actually one of my favorite birds because they're so small and petite and just so cute and fun to watch fly around. And come to my personal bird feeder, hummingbird feeder that I have out on my porch. They're just fun to watch, and my kids love watching them fly around everywhere. They are actually one of the smallest birds in the world. They are the smallest bird in the world, and they are actually very introverted animals. They love being alone, and they do this really odd, weird thing whenever they're low on food supply. It's really weird. I love learning new things and telling everybody that I know about everything that I have learned, and this hummingbird is no exception. They're so fun to learn about and to watch and be like, hey, I learned something new today. One thing that I did not know, which it clicked whenever I realized or whenever I learned about it, is that they're very introverted animals. They do not like to socialize. They are not in big groups or flocks of with other hummingbirds, and they like to be alone. And on welovehummingbirds.com, they said that whenever there is a bird feeder outside someone's home, usually a male, one bird goes and defends it and gets very, very territorial with it, very territorial and very protective over it. And so you'll see them fighting, and I actually see mine fighting all of the time over my bird feeder that I have on my porch. It didn't really click until I read that, and I'm like, hey, welovehummingbirds.com has a point, because it's always alone, and they do get very territorial over it. I also did not know that hummingbirds actually migrate. I mean, again, once I saw that, they migrate, it makes sense that they're here and my hummingbird feeder is empty or they're gone and I don't have to replace it for a long time. Maybe I should just dispose of the water. But they actually migrate twice a year, in the spring and in the fall. On perkypets.com, they actually specified and said that the migrations is their spring, they go north, so from Mexico to Canada, and they usually go through the United States to get more food. Well, plus because it's right there. And then in the fall, they come back down south from Canada through the United States, usually back to Mexico. So they're mainly in Mexico and Canada is where they usually stay. So whenever they're coming through, stopping at my feeder, they're usually just passing through. There's actually 300 species of hummingbirds. It's a lot of birds. And only 12 to 15 of the 300 species actually migrate through the United States. They try to go as quickly as possible so that they can get to Canada or back to Mexico, so they're the first ones for the food supply, and then there's less competition for food and territory for obvious reasons. And also hummingbird food. I actually have told a lot of people that they should get a hummingbird feeder because it's so fun to watch them, like I said. And they're like, what kind of food should I, do I buy it from the store? Like, what kind of food do they drink or eat? And they actually drink sugar water, because it resembles the nectar from the flowers that they're attracted to and that they take the nectar from. But also what I did not know was that they actually don't only the sugar water or the nectar from the flowers is actually such a small portion of their diet that they actually eat an abundance of insects and actually small bees as well. Hummingbirdguide.com specified and said that they eat mosquitoes, spiders, gnats, fruit flies, and sometimes, like I said, small bees, which I did not know. They eat those for the the nectar from the flowers and the sugar water from the hummingbird feeders give them the energy that they need to flap their wings 2,000 to 3,000 times per minute. So that gives them the energy, but then the insects and the bees, they help build their muscle mass, and then the proteins from the insects helps that as well with vitamins and minerals. So the sugar water and nectar is for the energy, and everything else is to keep them, afloat and going. They also like to drink tree sap from the holes that are already drilled by sapsucker insects. which is nifty because work harder or work smarter, not harder. And that's exactly what they're doing. They're just coming in and getting the sap from the sapsuckers' holes. And what I did not know, which is really fascinating to me, sometimes I wish I could do it. They have this thing that's called torpor. Whenever they're low on food supply, they just go to sleep. And well, it's a sleep-like state, but they just go to sleep, so they prevent starvation, which is really fascinating. I didn't see where exactly it said it, but they say that they do it, so I don't know if they go and like perch up somewhere or, you know, find their own little place out in the woods or something. I'm not exactly sure, but they go into a sleep-like state whenever they're short on food supply, which is crazy. These tiny birds, hummingbirds, are so fascinating that it's just so fun to learn new things about them. So interesting for me to actually make it click that they're such introverts, and that they're constantly going throughout the year, constantly. So in the spring they go, in the fall they come back, and then they're just, you know, just buzzing around everywhere. And I was really interested to know that they ate a whole bunch of bugs as well, along with the sugar water. So maybe I should, you know, offer them some bugs as well. So maybe I should get on that and be specific about what kind of bugs they have, or not get rid of my spider nest anymore. But yes, they are just very interesting, and I felt that this was a very, very interesting topic, and it's actually fun to learn about them.